Good morning everyone and welcome to a video here on the Isle of Harris. It's an absolutely peaceful morning. The sun's just coming through a layer of thin clouds, so it's directional but it's soft. It's got that quality of light that I always aspire to incorporate in my photographs. The tides are changing rapidly actually. In the time it took me to set up this shot, my composition pretty much vanished before my eyes, but I think I made something work. Anyway, the tides are still going out. It's about an hour until low tide, and I've come down to this particular beach because all of these sort of sand rock formations, I like to call them little sand cliffs, expose themselves as the tide goes out. So I'm going to spend a bit of time here and explore these sand cliffs because they change constantly as the tides erode them. Even from last year when I was here, they are dramatically different. They've all grown sort of algae and kelp, and it's wonderful to see sort of what looks like almost the start of a coral reef. That does mean, of course, I'm being very careful with where I stand, trying to disturb the ground as little as possible. So mainly sticking to the sandbanks, but there are patches where it's okay to sort of make your way through the sand cliffs. Anyway, I'll show you the image that I've just made, and it's quite minimal, square crop, just a lovely, still, peaceful scene. This is a good example here of what all of these little sand cliffs looked like last year. And this is still shootable though, I think, in my opinion. Especially this little scene here on the left where it's sort of crumbled away. I think there could be a nice intimate shot there where you sort of get the gradient of the broken pieces all the way to the nice curve of the formed little cliff there. So that's what I'm going to focus my attention on, and yeah, it's just a case of being very careful with where I step, because any footprints you leave could potentially ruin the scene. So I'm going with a vertical composition here. I did try horizontal, but I think the vertical emphasizes the S shape, and I'm getting up as high as I can with my tripod because I'm quite close to these foreground little sand rocks, and I'm shooting at about 35-40 mil, so I'm probably going to have to focus stack anyway, but getting up high and tilting down is going to help to align the plane of focus with my scene. Otherwise, it's just a careful balance of controlling the borders, the edges, giving everything enough space to breathe, and there's one little piece of kelp down on the right, which is a slight distraction. It doesn't match the rest of the scene, as it were. So I might try and crop it out. I might have to clone that later, but I might also just live with it. Anyway, I'm going to refine this scene for a few more minutes here, and then hopefully get a bit of more directional light to give this foreground some three-dimensionality. I'm trying this scene with a polarizer. Unlike further out on the open beach there, this scene, the reflections are too similar to the surrounding rocks. It was providing sort of minimal contrast over there, whereas here I actually want the contrast to emphasize the sweep of the sand. So yeah, that's why I'm trying out the polarizer. I'll actually take some video through the camera and just show you the sort of subtle difference it's making, but I think I'll stick with that. No ND filters for this, doesn't need it. There's no movement to smooth out anyway, just to show you. And that's without the polarization. So I mean, I'm gonna try both and then I can always choose later. I think it's quite a subtle change, but there might be something there where the polarization is either helping or hindering. So I finalized my composition here, and now I'm just waiting for a bit more light. There's very thin cloud, so it's a subtle change, but it's something that you do really notice in the final image. But I'm in no rush. I'm out in a beautiful location here. It's peaceful, there's no winds, and you can hear the oyster catchers calling off in the distance. Anyway, I'm gonna enjoy my time while I wait for the light, and I think this scene has worked out quite nicely. There's a few more little patches of these sort of sand bricks, sand rocks that I think will make for nice, minimal, intimate scenes, especially if we get the confluence of low tide with sunrise or sunset. Then I can come out at blue hour and get some really nice, maybe pink reflected light, hopefully. There's a few days in the forecast here that are looking quite promising. However, tomorrow is due to be snow, hail, wind, rain, all sorts, so things might get interesting here for a few days. But I'm very much looking forward to experiencing whatever comes my way. So it's quite hard to get across on camera, but I found a little piece that had washed up on stream, and if I just put it over my face, you can literally pick it up, and it does crumble if really squeezed, but yeah, I've never seen this anywhere else before. It's so weird, but sort of wonderful. Anyway, that's why I'm photographing it, is because it's just so unusual. Yeah. If anyone knows how this is formed or made, then please do let me know in the comments down below. So my shadow is causing a bit of a problem here, so I've got to wait for that moment where it's sort of indistinguishable between my shadow and the ambient light. Just stepping out of the scene, 2-second timer to do my focus stacking. The tripod shadow's actually not distinguishable, so... Oh, there we go. I can move on. look at a few other scenes. But first I think it's time for a bit of lunch, and then I'll come back when the tide has come in a few hours. As much as I love the subject of this photograph, I don't feel as though the balance of the elements is quite right. There's almost a bit of a competition between those large pieces of sand and the wavy sand off on the right hand side catching really nice light. This is definitely an area to revisit and try to bring those elements together in a more cohesive composition. "13 seconds at f11 ISO 100. While I wait for the tide to come in, I thought I'd try a few different compositions using these sweeping curves in the sand. And bear with while I'm having to focus stack this. Anyway, yes, I'm using the sweeping curves here to create sort of a layered foreground, and I was off-put a bit by the green at first, but when I convert to black and white, it's actually going to give me a bit of tonality control in the final result. So yeah, I think this is quite a nice square frame. It's a slightly different take on the usual frame that includes some of the Machar dunes over there. So I like this one, and literally just 4 or 5 meters over to my right is that original scene. And yeah, the tide is fast approaching. The banks here are really wide open and flat, so before you know it, the tide's risen a few meters. Really do have to get out here and wait on location to be there at exactly the right time. It's very hard to predict otherwise. So anyway, here's that first image, and hope you enjoy. Right, I think I'm pushing my luck there. I'm gonna back out of that. I just about got away with dry feet there. But how exciting! We've got this edge of rock just catching the light, leading us right over to the mountain where the rain was falling. It was all kicking off. That was really exciting, but now I've got to rush over to my first composition. The water is just starting to hit those rocks, so everything's happening all at once. Right, let's go. Check this out. Everything is kicking off. There's a rainbow. The water's coming in, it's crashing all around. Wow. I might try some with a less powerful ND just to capture some of the motion of the water. Whew. Amazing how everything can change in a matter of seconds. It's been waiting around for hours and then everything's kicking off in like the matter of 2-3 minutes. Well, I'm quite liking the long exposure. It's providing a bit of a calm to the image. I think I need to move just a touch to the right. Well, line that back up. There we go. I'm probably including a little bit more sky than I was before, just because there's a lot of atmosphere happening over the far mountains in North Harris. But I like that. I love the atmosphere. It adds to the overall mood of the images that I'm making. Well, that was super exciting. Landscape photography is often quite methodical for me, but that was certainly got the adrenaline pumping. Well, anyway, the tide's come in now and is covering all of those nice sand formations. So that's probably going to be it for this afternoon in terms of landscape photography. So I'm going to head back up to the van and end the episode there. But thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed, please do subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. And as always, there are prints, workshops, ebooks available over on my website. We'd appreciate that if you took the time to check those out. So thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. Cheers.